पर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। सच्चिदानन्दरूपाय कृष्णाय क्लिष्टकारिणे नमो वेदान्तवेद्याय गुरवे बुद्धिसाक्षिणे कृष्णद्वैपायनं व्यासं सर्वलोकहिते रतं वेदाब्ज भास्करं वन्दे समाधिनिलयं मुनिं सहस्रमूर्ते पुरुषोत्तमस्य सहस्रनेत्रानपादबाहोः सहस्रनाम्नां स्तवनं प्रशस्तं निरुच्यते जन्मजरादिशान्तैः। So we are going to today start from word number 55. So read the verse number 7, then we look into the detailed meaning of each of this. Agrahya shashvata krishno lohitaksha pradardhanaha. Agrahya shashvata krishno lohitaksha pradardhanaha. Prabhutistra kruddhatma prabhutastra kruddhatma pavitram mangalam param. So the first word number 55 is agrahyam. See, grahyam means grasp. Okay. So when you say grasp means you can get hold of. So you can grasp something. So you can grasp any object, even the Krishna in your house you can grasp. The Murti idol you can grasp. But here what we talk about is Vishnu. He is of the nature of agrahyam. That means the one beyond grasp. That means he is not a person who can be grasped by any karma indriyas. Right? You can only grasp him by jnana indriyas. So by jnanam you can actually be able to get hold of him. You cannot grasp this person who is Vishnu here. It is talked about as Bhagavan himself or Chaitanya Swarupam Krishna itself cannot be grasped by ordinary person with his bare hands or her hands. So one has to really acquire this person only by jnanam, by understanding who Bhagavan Vishnu is, correct? Because he is beyond all these things. We saw before aprameya rishikeshaha, correct? So aprameya means what? That which is cannot be beyond even comprehension. Aprameya. The one who cannot be objectified by any pramana. The one who cannot be objectified. He is not an object of knowledge. He is the very source of everything. Correct? So it's called agrahyam, the one beyond any grasp. Correct? Why he said? Because anything which is grahyam, anything which can be grasped, is of the nature of Sagunam Brahma. So Sagunam means what? With gunas, with attributes. So if you look at any object in your house or any murti in the house, any lord you worship.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Rohan. How are you?
Sir, I'm fine.
Good. You finished all the exams now? You're free?
Yeah, the holidays are finishing now.
Okay. So agrahyam, when you say, it means that cannot be grasped. Okay. So any object in your house, any Bhagavan Murti you can hold. You can describe. Say he is from this temple. Say if you go into Trishur, you've got a Krishna, beautiful Krishna, and I also got one. So it is a talk of the town that people know. It is very beautiful. So you can say it has got beautiful eyes, blue color in nature, short, very pleasant. All of them you can describe because it's gunas. But how do you describe something which you cannot actually foresee? So that is which is beyond gunas. It's called nirguna. So nirgunam means that which is beyond any attributes. You cannot put any value for that particular person. That is why it's called agrahyam. Right? Also, you cannot describe the person also. You can describe the person or the object saying to somebody that I got this Krishna in my house, I got this, Natarajan in my house, and you can say I bought this shop, it is at this price, this metal, you can describe everything. But how can you describe something which is not known to you? Right? So you cannot put a value, you cannot describe anything. So it's called you can't even speak about it. So yato vacho nivartante. So in Taittiriya Upanishad, it says that you cannot even speak about it because words also cannot go to that particular place. Okay. That's why it's called agrahyam. So grahyam, not only with karma indriyas, and also with manaha also you will not only know with jnana. So even mind also is supposed to be indriyas. Right? So, right. So mind also is another instrument of knowledge only. Right? So with the mind only, the karmas are being done because the mind tells the various parts of the physical body to do some actions. So the mind also is something known to you. And in the mind also you can conceptualize. See, even if you are awake, you're worshipping the Bhagavan in front of you, you can describe the person. Supposing if you are in a place where you cannot describe, you can still take the image of the Bhagavan in your house and you can still tell somebody else in the mind. But this is even beyond mind. Right? So here Vishnu talks about agrahyam. So agrahyam means that it cannot be grasped, it cannot be comprehended. It is beyond any gunas. That is the meaning of the word agrahyam. Right? Then number 56, it's called Shashwataha. Right? So Shashwatam means that which is always there, always existent, permanent. See, Ashashwatam means our physical body. Right? So our physical body is not going to be there all the time. Our mind also will not be there all the time. Right? We can say our mind is there, but our mind may not be there with the Bhagavan all the time. Right? Our mind is there with all other objects along with the Bhagavan at some point of time. So he is present, the Bhagavan is present in our thoughts as one of the many activities. So we go to office, we take bath, we take coffee, we listen to so many things, we go to work, we do music, so many things we do. And in that space of time, there is a space for Bhagavan, sometimes we worship. So there's a place for worship, there's a time for worship, and in that time the Bhagavan is present in your mind. Other than that, the Bhagavan is not present in the mind. Right? So how do you bring the Bhagavan all the time in your mind? Is by following karma yoga. So one has to be a karma yogi. So when I say karma yogi, it means what? You do the actions, all the actions with surrender to the Lord. That I am actually doing this action not for me, I'm actually doing action for you. So this is not my action, this is for you, I'm doing everything. You get up in the morning, you pray to the Bhagavan. You take bath, we say mantra, you pray. Take coffee also, you pray. This is Bhagavan's gift to me. So every action you do, go to office also, work is worship, we say. Correct? So going to school also is a karma, is a ritual. But school also is what? Is a temple. Right? That's where you get jnana. Go to college, go to university, go to work, earn money. Now, all bank also Lakshmi. So everything is Bhagavan's gift only, and this is how one has to bring the Bhagavan into the life. So only when you bring this concept, this philosophy of surrendering everything, you'll be free. Otherwise, you will still be lingering with some sort of responsibility. In reality, we can only do something. We are limited people, correct? We are limited to the extent of what we can do. Our eyes can see only up to a particular point of time. Even with the binocular, you can only see certain distances there. They give you range. You can see only 1 kilometer or 3 kilometers you can see. Beyond that, object will be easy. Right? So everything is limited. Our taste also is limited. Right? Our hearing space also is limited. Our mind also is limited by the extent of what we can comprehend. So all of us are limited in all these aspects. So this Bhagavan who is present, this Vishnu, He is of the nature of Shashvatam. So he is always present. Right? So, and he is present in what? In all the three Kalaha. He is Trikala Abhaditam. So, Trikalaha means what? Three different times. Kala means time. So, what is the three Kalas? We've got waking state, dream state, deep sleep state. Right? So, Trikala Abhaditam. So, he is present in every state of experience. So, anything you experience, anything you see, anything you talk, anything you hear, you smell, touch, he is because of the presence of the Bhagavan. This is how you understand the Bhagavan is present. Shashvatam. Right. That's why also in the Rudram also Nityancha Shashvatam Shuddham Dhruvam Aksharam Avyayam. Correct. Sarva Vyapinam Ishanam Vishwam Vairudra Rupinam. So what? So Nityam Shashvatam Shuddham. So Nityam means what? Always available. Shashvatam means ever present. Shuddham is clean. Correct. Our mind can be dirty. Our hands can be dirty. Our action can be dirty. Our deeds can be dirty. Our the way of worshipping, everything can be possible. Defects should be there. Dirty means defects. It's not dirty means clean. It means defects. There are limitations. There are some shortcomings in the way we do things. But in his temple, in his place, there's no shortcoming, because otherwise, why would you go and do Bhagavan worship? See, if you would not go to temple or you would not say, Bhagavan, please rescue me, when he is also like us, definitely, why do you go? Right? You go to somebody, say if you got somebody who is like you or like us, right, let's say, and if you lean on somebody's shoulder who is limited like us, he will also be saying that I got the same problem as you, a different problem. So you go to him or her for support, and in return, he will lean on you for support. So what do? You actually went for helping or getting support from somebody, and in return, you took that person's problem along with you. Now, oh, I thought that I am the only person having problem. It looks like he's also having the same problem. So what is the point of worshipping the person or going to the person? You go to the Bhagavan. So you always go to the last resort as only you can save me. Right? Because he's always there all the time. You go to any picnic, you go to a birthday party, you come home, he's always there waiting for you, the same place. He doesn't go anywhere. Unless you move the temple from your house or the photo from that place to somebody else, he's not going to move at all. He may be sitting there for 25 years, 30 years. The photo also will get very old. You can't recognize the photo also. Still he'll be there. Correct? So we always know that we always can go to this person, the last resort, as because it's Shashvatam. Correct? So Shashvatam means that which is always there. Correct? And that's why you say Achyutaha. So Shashvatam means what? That which is present. So Achyutaha means that which does not slip away. So the Bhagavan does not slip away from you. We can slip away. We can just walk away. We can say that, sorry, I don't have time today. He's not going to come and punish us. Neither is waiting for our prayers. See, we all have a view that Bhagavan is waiting. He's not waiting for our prayers. We have to go to him in worship. Correct? Because the whole physical body, the mind, complex, everything is Bhagavan's gift to us. Right? So who are we in a position to offer him anything? You can only offer gratitude to him. You cannot say that I am giving this to you. That is arrogance. Right? So we should not be arrogant. We should always be very, very humble and surrender. Right? So when you have the surrender attitude and humble attitude, you will not get angry with anyone. Okay? The angriness of the ego comes to you because you have a feeling that I'm doing something for somebody. Right? When you say I'm not doing anything, see, if you say I am doing this teaching, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, so many things I'm doing. So what do you get? You get that bloated ego, saying that, see, so many things I've done for this person. He's not even respecting me. So you get this ego because of why? Because you have a feeling of doership. You have a feeling of you're doing something for somebody. That also should be removed. Right? Because Bhagavan doesn't come and tell you that, I'm staying there for you. He doesn't even say anything to you. Correct? So in the same way, we should also be very humble and very silent. Just keep doing what you can do. If you cannot do anything, it is okay. Nothing, you don't have to feel, animosity, you don't have to criticize somebody, because that is how the Bhagavan responds to us. It's called Shashvatam. Right? So Shashvataha is always present. He is present in all the three states of experience: dream state, waking state, and deep sleep state. Okay. So even in deep sleep also is present. Right? Because only you will know, because when you get up in the morning, you are able to recollect that you slept well, or you had a dream. Correct? You didn't sleep at all, you say. How do you know? Because you are not there. You are asleep. But there was somebody along with you all the time. Right? So that is called the Bhagavan. That's called Shashvatam. Right? Then the next word is called Krishnaha. So Krishnaha is also another name for Vishnu. Right? And he is the one, Krishna Dvaipayanam Krishna. We saw the meaning, right? Dvaipayanam means the one who was born in a Dvipaha. So Dvipam, Krishna Dvaipayanam. Sarva Loka Hiteratam. So Loka Hitam means what? The one who is born for the Loka Hitam, for the benefit of the whole Loka. So Krishna means joyous. See, anybody who sees Krishna, he or she will forget even the sorrowness. Right? Because Krishna is supposed to be of the nature of Akarshayati. Akarshayati Krishna. So Akarshana means what? Attraction. Krishna will always, any photo of Krishna, if you see, it will attract you. It will always, like a magnet, it will draw you forward. Correct? That's why Krishna is worshipped, or in all the Namasangitam, etc., Krishna is worshipped more. Right? Rama is also there. But Rama is actually stands for values. Rama gives you values about how to live life. Krishna teaches you, Krishna is the Jagat Guru. He teaches you the very purpose of your life itself. So Bhagavad Gita, may say, the very purpose of existence is taught to you in the Bhagavad Gita by Krishna, Jagat Guru. Right? So Vedapcha Bhaskaram Bandhe. So Vedapcha Bhaskaram Bandhe. So the one who is present in the Vedas is called Krishna. Right? So Krishna. And the one who is Sadanandaha. So Krishna's another name is called Sadanandaha. So Sadanandaha. So Nityanandaha, Sadanandaha is called Krishna. Right? So the one who is always present, who is happy, is called Sadanandaha. So Sat Anandaha means, see, Sadanandaha is one word. Okay, Sada means what? Always. Anandaha means happiness. The one who is always happy. Krishna can never be seen in a state of sorrow. Nobody will even draw a picture of Krishna in a very, very, tearful mode, because Krishna itself is Mohana Rupa. Just like a sun, when you draw, even a small child, you ask a child to draw a sun, they will draw a sun with all sun rays. They will never, even not if somebody came today, a 5-year-old boy came to study the Bala Gurukulam, Biran. So he came here. So he drew me a picture about something. I asked him, what is this picture? It's a sun god. So he's only a 5-year-old boy. He's able to draw a picture with the clear sun being yellow in color. Same way, Krishna is supposed to be a Mohana Rupam. Of course, Sadhanandaha. And Sat Anandaha, the one who is present as the truth. Right? Sat Anandaha. Right? So Sri Krishna is also an avatar of Vishnu. So Vishnu avataram, Sri Krishna avataram. Right? So they were born in different yugas. Right? So Treta Yuga and Dwapara Yuga. So Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga. And Krishna also means a person who is blue-black in color. Neela Mega Shyama. So another name for Krishna is Neela Mega Shyama. So Neela Megam means what? Blue-black. So Megha is supposed to be cloud. And the cloud is supposed to be very dark in color in the cloud. And Neela Megam, bluish black. So Krishna is never drawn as white. Rama is actually drawn in, fairness. Right? Rama is actually, so Krishna is drawn always in bluish black. So Neela Mega Shyama. Because the Sarupa of the Lord. Right? So Krishna has got different names. Vittal is there, correct? Vithoba. So different. Krishna has got so many names. People worship in different countries, different places, in different ways. Then number 58. Lohitakshaha. See, Lohitam means redness, and Akshaha means eyed. So the one who is of the nature of red or red color, red-eyed Lord, right? Why it is said like this? Because the sun and the moon, right? If you look at the sun, right, it is the rising color is what is red, correct? The sun, the color of the sun is actually rising sun is supposed to be red, crimson red. So early in the morning we see the sun, you see the Bhagavan, right? The sun, Surya Bhagavan. It's supposed to be the eye of the sun. Likewise, the rising of the moon also is supposed to be red in color. If you really watch closely, moon when it really goes up, it is actually very bright and white in color. But the rising moon, when the sun starts to set and then the moon starts, there's a transition period. At that time, the sun gives light to the moon. So because of the borrowing of the light, the sunset light is reflected in the moon, it becomes red. See, the moon doesn't have a light of its own. So if you have an idea, somebody tells you, in history, science, we study in school, sunlight, moonlight, starlight, all light we study. But in reality, there's only one light. There's only one light. And the one light is sun. Suryaha is only light, and everybody else is borrowed light. It's called, moon is called borrowed light. Star also is called borrowed light. So the stars shine because of the sun being there. The moon shines because the sun being there. Right? It's called Lohitakshaha. Then Pratardhanaha. So Pratardhanaha means the one who is destroyer, or the one who can samhara murti is called Pratardhanaha. Right? So when doing pralayam, when pralayam means what? When the whole universe is about to be resolved. That means when all of us, when the question we ask is, when will this universe end? See, a lot of people forecast. Some people say 2021, Nostradamus says 2021 will be removed. 2021 has gone, so many years will come and go. Shastram says that we will be here for another at least 450,000 years. We are only about 23rd year, the Kali Yuga. The Kali Yuga is supposed to last for 460,000 years. So you've got so much of time to take birth and die again and come back, and every janma will be different. See, this janma itself is so difficult. Correct? If somebody asks a question, do you want to be reborn again? What do we say? No, we don't want to be born again. Because, correct? Because we do not want to again go through the same ordeal of going through exams, studying exams, going through all these exams, working for money, struggling, and then, so many things we are going through, health issues, COVID issues. Do you want to do that? No, I said, I want to be free. But unfortunately, what this says, this Kali Yuga will extend up to 460,000 years. So we got only the starting of the Kali Yuga. And already it is like this. So many difficulties. Imagine that if you don't study or if you don't have intention to be free, you will be cycling through all these problems forever. Somebody will ask a question, how do you know? I can't, there's no answer because you will not be there, I will not be there. You will not be there to ask me the question next Janma. I will not be there to answer you the question also. Right? Either it is possible that you will be born again or I would have taken Jivan Mukta, it's possible. So there will be nobody there. Neither your parent also will be there to answer the question because you will be born in another parental family. Depending upon what you do, your parents will be different. Your parent will be different. Husband will be different. Wife will be different. Correct? Nobody wants to say that I was the same husband for 7 years. For 7 janmas. Nobody wants, right? Somebody wants is okay. But really speaking, like you want to change. You like to, you do not know about it. What it says is, this is what it says here, is this Pratardanaha means when the entire Jagat is resolved, when everybody, all of us becomes knowledgeable. Bhagavan gives time for everybody to become knowledgeable. He says, you keep studying. You will not be able to pass this time. What do? You again give another exam. You again pass. Or you don't fail. Again give exam. Keep on giving exam after exam after exam again. You will get good results one day and you will pass out finally. Same way here also, Janma after Janma after Janma, you keep taking birth. You keep studying Sahasrama for so many Janmas. If you don't miss the class here, next Janma will be there to study from where you left out. So verse number 55, you start again. 66. Some teacher will come and teach you this. I may not be there or somebody teach you there. You start. Right? So by the time you reach 1000 verse, you would have cycled through so many Janmas. So your option of completing the study, free itself, and then over. Vishnu Sahasrama is over, study something else. That's what it says, Pratardanaha. The one who is capable of Samhara Murti, the one who has the power to resolve everything. Called. So it's like a samadhi, correct? It does not destroy. There's no destruction really because there's nothing created here. Everything is only an appearance, a manifestation. Right? So there's no creation, there's no destruction. There's only change. Okay? Everything is changed. Correct? So that is called Pratardanaha. Then verse number 60 is called Prabhutaha. So Prabhutaha means what? The one who is endowed with exceptional qualities. Prabhutaha. Special qualities, not ordinary qualities, special qualities. So we saw the meaning of the word Bhagavan, right? So Shakti, Bhalam, Viryam, Arogyam, everything is there. So we all have qualities. Shakti, we have Shakti of limited Shakti we have. Bhalam, limited. Viryam, limited. Arogyam, limited. Everything limited in capacity. But the Bhagavan here has got exceptional capacity for all Arogyam, all Aishwaryam, all Viryam, all Yashas, fame. Right? And Vairagyam, dispassion. So we are dispassionate towards mango, dispassionate towards coffee, dispassionate towards something which you don't like because, see, some people are dispassionate because they don't like the object. Very nicely they will say, see, I left all these things. I don't like this. Or I left this. They don't say, because they don't want to eat that. So some people say, Katrikai, bangun or aubergine, right? They'll say, sorry, I stopped eating brinjal. Why? Because, no, I stopped eating. In the heart, he doesn't like, he doesn't like the Katrika, doesn't like it, brinjal. But what does he say? I'm dispassionate towards brinjal. So dispassion, it's not dispassion. It is something which you don't like, you are giving it to somebody else. Right? They say dispassionate means what you like or what you enjoy should be given up. Right? That is difficult. How it is possible, sir, that whatever I like, how can I give it? No, it's not possible. All old clothes only I'll give. Torn clothes, somebody which you cannot wear, you give to somebody. But if somebody asks you, give something very good, no, it is still good condition. You always check. I think I can still wear it for one more year. So you again put it back in the cupboard. In the hanger, you put it back, don't touch it for one more year. finally you say that this, I cannot bear this anymore, you give it. So you always have vairagyam in that manner. So limited vairagyam. But the Bhagavan is called exceptional vairagyam. It's called prabhutaha. So he's got, so his absolute measure called prabhutaha. Then Trik Krubdhamaha. So Trik Krubdhamaha. So Trik means what here? See. So the word you have to break into three words, okay? Three Kakrdha Dhamaha. Okay, three words. Three Kakrdha Dhamaha. So three means three. There are three regions, okay? So Kagub Dhamaha. So three Kagub Dhamaha. So Kagub means direction or region. So three directional or three regions, correct? And Dhamaha means what? Destination. Okay. So when you say three regions, what it means? Urdhvaha, Madhyamaha, Adaraha. Urdhva means top, right? Madhyamam means middle, and Adhamam means the bottom. So top, middle, and bottom are supposed to be three Kagub Dhamaha. So Trayaha means three. Three. Kakub means regions, and Dhamaha means the place or the abode. Right. So we have got also three types of experiences. The celestial experience called Devas. Right? The people who live in the Urdhvaha, they are called Devas or celestial people. The one who is called Madhyamaha, the human beings. We are in the middle. Right? We are not lower. There are people living below us, like cockroaches, insects. They come out at night, correct? They live in the hole below, Padra Lokaha. So they are called the Adamaha. So the three different, it talks about the person who is responsible for all the three lokas, all three different regions. It's present in everything. It's called Tikagub Dhamaha. Okay. So what it means here is there cannot be anything beyond these three. There cannot be anything beyond the celestial beings. There cannot be anything beyond the human beings. There cannot be anything beyond the other beings which are below earth also. So the Bhagavan Vishnu is present in all the three of us. So he is Deva, Vishnu is there. Manushyaha, Vishnu is there. Cockroaches also, Vishnu is there. So we kill cockroaches, spiders because we dislike them, correct? It's a nuisance, so we kill them. So you are doing papam. So I mean, we have to. Otherwise, you cannot say that come and bite me. So that is their prarabdha karma. Their prarabdha karma is that they have to be killed by somebody because they cause some himsa. Then they get. So what do? You do some prayachita karma. That is why we can never be free from papam. We always do papam something or the other. You walk on the floor, there will be some ant which you can't see, you step on it. It is papam. See, the rishis, all the sannyasis, in Chaturmasya Vardam, they follow Chaturmasya Vardam. So in Chaturmasya means when the rainy season comes, they don't travel anywhere. They actually are staying putting. So other times they go out and give lectures. So in Chaturmasya, when the rainy season starts, in that time they don't go anywhere because often in India, there's always floods or low-lying areas where there's always floods there. So one has to walk, in some amount of water. At least your feet will be drenched, right? And when it is sunny, you can see who is. There's no water there. You can see it. So you can take a step. You can look down and see what is there, and you can avoid some insects, some creatures by stepping across or jumping across. But when you are in flood waters, there are insects, creatures, etc., which are hidden, and you do not know at the layer of the water. So they are, sannyasis supposed to be what? Ahimsavadis, correct? They've taken vow not to hurt anything by knowing or unknowingly, correct? So that's why they don't go, to minimize their papa. Because even they are also affected by this. So if they step on it, just because they're sannyasis doesn't mean that whatever they do is free. No, even then they are also governed the same law, universal law. So they are very careful that they don't hurt anybody. So what they do, they don't travel. They stay at the ashram and they ask people to attend on Zoom, or you go there. So he says, you come and do all these things, the papam is yours. I do not want to do any papam. Correct. So they stay there and they give lectures. So people go to their ashram and listen. Correct. That's why it's called here. So Sutri Kakuk Damaha. Right. Then next one is called Pavitram. So Pavitram means pure, or the one who purifies is called Pavitram. So when you say Pavitram means pure, and Pavitram also means the person who purifies. So how does he purify? He purifies you or us by giving us clarity in thoughts. So when you pray, see, when I was a small child also, what the father and mother, they ask, see, Bhagavan te kettuko. See, you ask Bhagavan, give nalla buddhi. So give good buddhi. Right? They always ask nothing else. You ask the Bhagavan that you get good buddhi. They don't ask anything else. A small child, we are taught, right, that you should ask the Bhagavan for good buddhi. Why? Because durbuddhi can come. So good buddhi is required for you to purify thoughts. So right from the children itself, young age also, we are asked to pray, we are asked to worship, asked to do some chanting, and sit in front of Bhagavan, say something, or at least pray, right? To ask for good buddhi. Because if you have the right buddhi, you can do whatever you want. If you have the wrong buddhi, anything can go wrong. Right? That's why you ask for buddhi only. Buddhi is supposed to be the one. So that is why it's called Pavitram. So Pavitra means the one who purifies by having good thoughts, by developing good thoughts, or helping us nurture good thoughts, is called Pavitram here. Right? Then Mangalam Param. So Mangalam Param means auspiciousness. See, Mangalam means auspiciousness. It's not the Mangalam Padadu Pura. This is different. Okay. So Mangalam Padadu means at the end of the they sing this. Also Mangalam Padadu means people just disappear and take things and go. It is not called Mangalam. Mangalam here means auspiciousness. It means Shivam. So Mangalam, Shivam, Kalyanam, Bhadram, all mean the same thing. So Mangalam means auspiciousness. Bhadram means auspiciousness. Kalyanam means auspiciousness. Shivam means auspiciousness. So all the four words, they indicate the same meaning. Okay. So Mangalam. And what Mangalam is? Param Mangalam. He is of the nature of the highest amount of auspiciousness. Right? Highest amount of happiness you can give. Ultimate auspiciousness called Param Mangalam. Is it clear so far? This verse is clear? Any questions from anyone before we go to the next one? Okay. So verse number 8. Ishanah pranadah prano Ishanah Pranadah Prano Jeshta Shrestha Prajapatihi. Ishanah Pranadah Prano Jeshta Shrestha Prajapatihi. Hiranyagarbho Bhugarbho. Hiranyagarbho Bhugarbho Madhavo Madhusudanaha. Hiranyagarbho Bhugarbho Madhavo Madhusudanaha. Ishanah Pranadah Prano Jeshta Shrestha Prajapatihi. Hiranyagarbho Bhugarbho Madhavo Madhusudanaha. So, Ishanaha, word number 64. 64, Ishanaha. So, Ishaha. Right? So, Isham means the overlord, overlordship. And Ishaha means the one who is the owns the overlordship. So, overlordship means what? The one who stands tall among everybody else. The one who is the most powerful overlordship is called Ishaha. And Ishanaha means the one who is the holder of the overlordship is called Ishanaha. Or supreme authority, greatest leader, it's called Ishanaha. So Narayanaha equal to Ishanaha. Okay. Because why is called a great leader? Because there is nobody appointing him to be the leader. See, if you are to want to be the leader, someone has to tell you you are the leader. Right? For the Bhagavan, he is self-appointed leader. There is nobody else to tell him that you are the leader. Because he has got all the qualities of a leader. And he can represent himself for anything. For us, we will not be told that you are a leader. Or you have to develop leadership qualities. See, they will tell you this. See, you don't have leadership qualities now. So you better acquire. So the Bhagavan, we don't tell the Bhagavan that you don't have leadership qualities, correct? What do you do there? You go and ask him for leadership qualities. Please bestow qualities in me, correct? So you ask him because he's a giver of leadership qualities to you. So he's called Ishanaha, the one who is the ultimate overlordship of Ishanaha. Then Prana, so Pranadaha. So see, Pranadaha means Dadhati means give. So the word Daha represents Dadhati means give. So Pranam Dadati iti Pranadaha. The one who gives Pranam or Pranam to you is called Pranadaha. Also, the one who cuts the prana also is called Pranadaha. Right? So he gives you the prana and also can take away the prana also anytime. Doesn't take much time. Right? So Pranadaha means the one who is the giver of prana and also the one who is a taker of the prana is called Pranadaha. Right? How does he take it? When you say he gives energy to us, correct? He gives energy to us to live. Tiredness, correct? Tukam varum, hottavi varum, mudugu valikkum, all things are there. Right? You got all these things, backache, all things. So he gives strength to you. So by remembering that, he gives strength. At the same time, he can also take away the energy from you also. Correct? So both is possible. Because the person who is giving energy also can take away the energy also when you don't need it. So when you are very old, when the time is up, when your prarabdha karma is over. See, this prarabdha karma means what? The janma's safalyam is over. You have taken birth, the janma, and whatever you want to achieve, the janma is over. You cannot stay even for 1 nanosecond here. You can ask, I want to complete this. No, you cannot. You will just disappear just like that. It doesn't take time. And nobody will notice it. Correct? Somebody will be just coming and saying, oh, he was just here, he's gone. What it means is that the cutting of the prana also is Bhagavan's kripai. He's got a power. Giving of the prana also is Bhagavan. So what if we are actually at the mercy of the Bhagavan? So you must always be thankful for that, for giving extra day in your life. Every day when we wake up from death literally, correct? We do not know we are going to wake up next day, correct? We all have a view that we are going to wake up next day because we have got things to do, correct? We got to go to the office, we got to go to this place, that place, move things here, there, exams, schools, colleges. Everybody's got it. But can somebody give a guarantee that tomorrow I'll be there? Nobody can give a guarantee because that's why we take bath in the morning. Why do we take bath in the morning? First of all, because we always, every day, wake up from that uncertain time where we do not know our own existence. Right? We sleep, father sleeps, mother sleeps, husband sleeps, wife sleeps, everybody is sleeping in the house. Nobody is there. But Bhagavan is not sleeping. He's always there. So that is why we wake up in the morning. Before we do any activity, we first take bath. Right? And then we do everything else because we have to cleanse ourselves. Just like when you go, to any place where you first take bath. You go to the barber shop, also you take bath. Why? Nowadays, people don't do that. People, like, I think some people, I see them, they go to the morning in the office, they take nice haircut. They don't take shower. They take shower next day. It is actually Saucham. See, it is not for, see, our teachers say, like, no, oh, you must not do this. Don't do this. Why? Because it is Asaucham. See, the cutting of the hair, etc., will actually go in your nose, ears, it will be hanging around here. And the hair also is a problem. Growing nails also is a problem. They grow. Even though you don't want to, it grows. So you'll have to remove it, correct? So by cutting hair, removing hair, etc., you're constantly removing the problems. If you don't have hair, it is a different thing. You're a little bit relieved. So it means what Shaucham is important. That's what it says here, is Pranadaha. So one who is a giver of prana, one is a taker of prana is called Pranadaha. Correct? Then 66, Pranaha is also present as the one who is present as the prana itself. See, he is the holder of the prana, is also the giver of the prana, and is also present as the essence also. Right? So subtle body, see, prana is supposed to be subtle body. Subtle means you can't know. See, can somebody tell that, I have prana? I can experience prana. You can experience it, but can you see the prana? You cannot. You can only sense that there is prana in your body. See, even right now in the waking state, we are all breathing, right? We are doing different activities because there's a prana there, and you can very much see that action there. In the dream state also, there is prana there because you are riding a horse, or you're riding, some elephant is chasing you, some lion is chasing you, or you are, having a, great time with some favorite actress or actress. What do you want to have that? You're having great time there. Because whatever you cannot enjoy during daytime, those are all the things you can bring it out in dream time. You can just expand all these things. You can do all of that. And the prana also is present there, right? Because you are breathing. But what about in deep sleep state? What about, after dream, you collapse finally and then finally drift off to deep sleep state? The prana is there or not? It is there. You do not know the prana is there, but the prana is there. Because you yourself don't know that you exist at that time. You are flat like a log, but there is prana there. It is unseen. So this is called prana. The subtlest of the one which is running there is called prana. It is always there. Right? You will not know, other person who's not sleep, he will tell you, see, you are breathing. I can see this life there. Prana is there. It's because we are breathing up and down. Snoring also is there. You do not know you're snoring or not. Other person will say that you are snoring. Okay. So prana also is there. It's called prana. Okay. Then 67, Jeshtaha. So Jeshtaha means the eldest. Jeshta Putraha Jeshta Putri means the eldest. So Jeshta, eldest. Why eldest? Because there's nobody who is older than him. If somebody is called elder, he is supposed to be the eldest of everything. Because there is no birth for the person. See, when you say eldest, when you say, if at all there is somebody who is there who is saying, I am elder than him, then I am the eldest. So when you say born, you are one step away from that person. Right? So the Bhagavan is supposed to be the oldest person or the eldest person, because you cannot remember when he is born. There's no time stamp for the person. Because there's no death for the person, so he's always there. Correct? So he's called Jeshtaha. Then 68, Sreshtaha. So Sreshta means what? Praiseworthy, or the one who has got worth praising is called Sreshtaha. So there are no words to describe him. Right? So Sreshtam, when you say that he's very, very special, you can say that. You can have words. But how do you describe somebody who is beyond words? Right? So when the Bhagavan is cannot be described by words, how can you call him Sreshtaha? Because there is nothing there which can describe him in any words. Right? So all the glories, everything belongs to him. Any amount of prashansa or wealth or greatness or anything which you feel is not yours. It belongs to him. So this is what we should understand. The message is that, oh, you are a very great person. No, I'm not great. You just say, I'm not great. I'm just, Bhakta of the Bhagavan. All the greatness belongs to him. I'm only a humble sevaka. So this is the attitude of the bhakti aspect. So when your bhakti is very sincere, you have this feeling. No, I'm the greatest person. Is anybody greater than me? No. This is the wrong attitude. So here it talks about Sreshtaha. Always, when you worship Bhagavan, you should be always lower. You must never be seated above. See, that's why your altar, etc., you see that you're always at a lower level. You sit and then pray. If you've got a chair, you can't do anything about it. But always, the Bhagavan should be at a level of, at the eyesight level, or should be sitting below. Like Guru also, you must not be standing above the Guru. Kaal pottu aadakodadu. Some people they sit in the front and they cross their legs, or they keep dangling their leg like that. The Guru will be sitting there, at the altar there. He will be sitting above. You are supposed to be always sitting below the Guru. See, Zoom is a different thing. Forget about it. Don't worry about it. You can sit wherever you want. You can do it. It doesn't matter. But what I'm saying is, traditionally, when the Guru is sitting there, altar, you're supposed to be sitting next to the person or below the person. Because you're supposed to be looking up. Not like, the Guru should look up and talk to you. You should be looking up to talk. Correct? This is a sampradaya. This is all the values being taught. Correct? So same, teacher, Guru, Bhagavan, all of them are only one. Okay. So if you have that attitude, your life will be successful. That's what it says here. Right? So Jeshtaha, Sreshtaha. So Sreshtaha. Then we look at one more word, then we stop. So Prajapatihi. So Praja means what? The living beings. So they're all Praja. So Prajaigal. So they say Prajai. And Patihi means what? The Lord of the Praja, or the owner of the Prajas. So we all belong to the Bhagavan. There is nobody here called Anataha. We all say, I'm an Anath, I'm an orphan. Actually, there's no orphan. Because for the person who has got no father and mother, Bhagavan is supposed to be the father and mother. Right? Tvameva mata cha pita tameva. Correct? So what he says, because you are the father, you are the bandhu, you are the bandhu. Correct? You are Sakha also, you are a friend. Correct? So you are the Vidya Dravidam Tameva. Why do we say like this? Because The understanding should be that if I don't have anybody also, Bhagavan is there for me always. So don't worry about it. Okay. So it's called Prajapati, the one who is the Prajapati also called Brahmaji, correct? So from whom all the Prajas come into existence called Brahmaji also Prajapati. Correct? He is the Lord of everybody. Is it clear so far? So we'll stop at 69 for now. And if you got any questions, I'm happy to take it. If you want any elaboration, I can give it. Otherwise, we can continue next class. Any questions you got? Any of these young boys, Rohan, Nitin?
No, sir.
You're able to hear, you know where the text is now? You're able to follow, right? Did you find the text which I'm referring
Yeah,
to?
yes, yes.
Okay. Jayama, you got any questions? You're okay?
No, sir.
Bhavani, you're able to follow, right? Everything okay?
Yeah.
Yes, I'm able to follow. Just one thing
Yes.
about you said how we meet while walking and while doing and all that. We
Yes.
might hurt some Jivangal. You said it's a prarabdham that they get their divinity by this. So that's true for everyone, is it? Or for rishis, yes, but for normal common man, that's also the same thing. So if we hurt some spider, we hurt some cockroach. But sometimes we feel bad because we're doing so much of pest control and we're killing every time.
Correct.
So
It is prarabdha, because see, the prarabdha is actually for everybody. Even for a sannyasi also prarabdha is there, because prarabdham is something which is already started. That is why they got a physical body. Right? So the physical body is an example of that. Your prarabdha is there. So that means you'll have to somehow or the other live the life, and that is how you have to expend it. There's no choice. So in that prarabdha, it is already ordained that you will do certain things which you do not know. Correct? There are a lot of actions which you know you will do, some actions which you do not know. We don't even know what you're going to do today and tomorrow also. Forget about now. Next 1 minute we do not know. There might come and sit a spider next to my table and I'll have to kill it, possible. And I'll have to do that because, or I can take it away and I can, put a safe place. But what if it jumps on me and starts to bite me? Correct?
yeah.
So are you supposed to just be tolerant? Because at the end of the day, you have to have your own protection. Right? So if that jantu is doing harm to you, you're supposed to be, you have to somehow do some harm to them. This is how the papam comes to our existence. For that only we have all the prayer. So why do we do the prayer worship? Is to remove this unknowing papam which you do something, right? Unknowingly we speak about people, unknowingly we hurt people, we do actions. So there are so many things in a day we do which are unknowingly we do, correct? Sometimes we do it because we do not know what you're doing also. So all of them, to ward off this, we have to do prayer. So it's called prabala prarabdha, abala prarabdha. See, prabala means what? You cannot do. It is written. Whatever you do, you cannot do anything. You have to just go through the pains and pleasures. But if you've got abala prarabdha, I mean very weak prarabdha, some prarabdha can be warded off. Some you can just ward it off by heavy prayer, by doing puja, punaskaram, you can do that. But there is something called very, very strong prarabdha. Like you have to go through some difficult times. See, kalvalikum. So many things will be there. Backache, headache will be there. You cannot do anything about it. You just have to endure it. But endurance is something you understand that I am ordained for this. I cannot do anything about it. I have to just live the life. See, when Swamiji was very, when I started learning Swamiji, he was very young, and I met him first time. And when I saw him last time, he had to be carried with 3 people, put on a chair, and in Nanakatti, you have to stretch his leg. Someone will actually put a microphone in his mouth. Someone will put a earbud in his mouth. And he will speak for maybe 5 minutes. He will doze off for half an hour without his knowing. He will be waiting there for half an hour, 40 minutes, waiting there to listen. Suddenly he'll come and talk about something. After again about 20 minutes, he'll disappear again. So even though he was Jnani, he had in Brahma Aikya, he told us, see, I got my buddhi is working, mind is working, but word doesn't come out of the brain. because it is also happening for a jnani also. So even the sannyasis, everybody, they also got a physical body. They also have to go through the same pain, pressure, just like what we have. The only difference between them and us is that we crib, we complain, and we always say that, why are you doing this? Oh, why Bhagavan is doing this for me? What they say is Bhagavan prasadam to me. This is how I am ordained like this, and I will go through this. The physical body is the one which is going through this problem. I myself, as the Atma, the consciousness, do not do anything about it. So he's free. In that way, the person is free. Right?
Yeah.
You got it? So don't be afraid if Spider comes to you, if you are doing some do extra prayer, and you think that, sorry, accidentally I killed this is power that is over, because like lifestyle, the lifetime of the fighter is over. That's why it has gone. It has come into your net. Otherwise, you won't even see him. The cockroaches are not seen by you, right? In daytime, they don't come. They only nighttime they come. If you wake up at 2 o'clock and walk in the kitchen and get some drinking water, you'll see them walking around, and they disappear. you don't see them during daytime because their operating time is different compared to us. They don't come to disturb you. If you go and they live somewhere else in their own loka. They are living there. If you go and cross into their loka, you get hurt. Correct. So we let them live. We live. So this is the way of living lifestyle. So give them space. Let them live what they want to do there. You live your own lifestyle. So they won't come disturb you. Nobody, no animal, even lion also doesn't come kill just like that. It kills only when it's hungry. Otherwise, even if a deer is passing through, it will just keep looking and just go. It will not kill just because he wants to kill. Everything is driven by instinct. Everything is driven by the need. Correct? You have the need, you do it. Otherwise, you don't do it. Does it answer the question, Bhavani ji?
Yes, thank you.
Jayama, you're okay? Everything okay, ma?
Okay, my Swami. Okay. போன வாரம் வர முடியலைங்க.
இல்ல பரவாயில்லை, நீங்க வாங்க. நீங்க உங்களுக்கு எப்ப டைம் கிடைச்சது வாங்க நீங்க.
Okay.
Krishna ji, you have got any questions?
No, it's all clear.
All clear. Shadri ji? Okay, very good. So we'll stop the class here, and we will have our last class for today, the Bhagavad Gita class 7:45. So whoever wants to come, if free, they can attend. Otherwise, we'll see you in next week on Tuesday. We have a Tamil class called Tattvabodham. I'm starting in Tamil, so people who are free, they can attend.
What time?
6 o'clock. 6 o'clock in the evening, Tuesday, 6 to 7 p.m.
6 or 7 p.m. Okay. 8 to 9.
That is 8 to 9 your time. After dinner, you can sit and enjoy.
Yeah. That's what I'm thinking.
But it'll be in Tamil, okay? So.
I know. I'm a Tamilian.
Is it? Okay, very good.
Yeah. The only thing is I didn't study Tamil. Being in Kerala, I studied Malayalam.
Okay.
But mother tongue is Tamil.
Okay. Very good. Om Purnamadah Purnamidham Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Tatsat Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Namaste. Shubhratri to all of you.
Thank you, sir.